I mean, there is a whole thing about. I mean, we know that yes, we were brought that the African slave trade existed, but there is some debate. Did it exist to the level they say it existed?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of us were already here. Think about what makes more sense. That yes, people that Africans were all over this planet Earth, or people that we like to call Africans, because I say we the original indigenous people of the planet Earth. Well, I don't even like to.
We are the original indigenous people of the whole planet Earth, so there should never have been a discussion about our indigeneity in North America. My family, part of my family, look at me. I know where my graves are. I know where no, I'm talking about the graves of those who came before the slave ship, because we didn't bury underground. We buried above ground. Okay? And the mounds are all over Oak Hill. And we would go clean it every year. Our grandfather took us to clean them. And we would replace the instruments and tools and things on their graves. I didn't understand what that was about when I was a child, but we did it every year. That's something we did. They used to say these are Indians, but they weren't no Indians, okay? That was the language of the day that Papa and them were using. These were not Asiatics. But if you read LaRon Bennett's Shaping of Black America, he does it better than anyone looking at it. A book called Shaping of Black America by Dr. LaRon Bennett. He has a chapter in there called The Red and the Black. And he deals with the amalgamation of those who came off the slave ship and those who were already here. And white folks making the claim, well, look, the ones in the villages is as black as the ones we're bringing in. So let's raid those villages and put them all enslaved. There is no more separate indigenous population here because we amalgamated into one black population centuries ago. People need to stop the foolishness. I come out of one of the most recent walk out the bush black folks, because we didn't walk out the bush until the 70s, most of us. Down in Andrews, South Carolina, Santee, South Carolina, Conway, South Carolina. Some of our people still live in the bush and don't pay much attention to the damn government to the day. They call that the Freewood. Sometimes they call it Burgess or Socrates. Part of it used to be called North Myrtle Beach. That's where my people come from. That's who I am, a bush Negro from the Freewood. All right? And we amalgamated with those who came off the boats. And we amalgamated with some of our Asiatic cousins. But this North America was a black civilization. Central South America was a black-skinned African civilization before the Asiatic crossed the Bering Straits, and they declared war on us too. And before the whites came on the ships, who declared the second phase of war on us. Okay? So, hey.
Brother Chase, when someone tells a perfect lie, the truth is unbelievable.
That's a fact. Real.
When I talk to people and I tell them this, they look at me and they say, say what?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
It's hard to, you telling me that there was a human being in San Diego, a black woman, 90,000 years old. Come on, Brother Kaba, is that what you're telling me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I'm telling you that you can find bones that are older than hers in America.
Right.
And they black. The second movement were the Clovis Folsom. Clovis Folsum. Clovis,
right, the Clovis people. Right, right.
Okay, the Clovis people. Now, they're Africans too, but they're taller. They're called Clovis Folsom because they were found in New Mexico by a brother, by the way. His name was Mick Junker. You know, he was an archaeologist and anthropologist, but he couldn't get no respect because he was black. But he was the one that came out with these bones, called the Clovis Folsom, found in Clovis and Folsom, New Mexico.
Okay, so that's where they get the name, the Folsom people.
Exactly. They get it from what we today call Folsom.
Right, right.
And Clovis, New Mexico. The third migration is going to come thousands of years after that, and those are the Algonquin.
Right.
Okay. They are mixed with African, but they've been touched by the people who have been impacted by the Ice Age. So some are not as melanated as the original two groups. Now you got three groups that have melded together. The fourth group is called the Inuit, Innuit. That's a derogatory term. So for what we call Eskimo. Eskimo is a derogatory term, like pygmy is a derogatory term. They come up in much larger numbers, but the fifth are Asians that are avoiding Genghis Khan and Mongol invasions.
Right. And that's normally where Europeans start. They start with, that's the Bering Strait crew. Okay.
That's right. The first Africans that came to America came from Africa.
Right.
They did not come across the Bering Strait.
Right.
There is a shorter distance between the coast of Africa, and the other thing is that they probably came from Southern Africa, because some of the older bones also we find are in Brazil.
Absolutely.
We find, that front cover of David Imhotep's book, that's a picture of a brother from Tierra del Fuego, which is the southernmost point of South America.
Okay.
See, because we're in the United States and we're dealing with Europeans, everything is geared towards what we call the continental United States.
Right.
So they're coming down across the Bering Strait. They're the fifth migration. They blend with the other four. And that is who is met by the Europeans in 1492. Even they were black.
Right. Right.
Because to be red, because it's obvious that the indigenous people looking at these Europeans saw such a stark difference in the way they look. They call them pale face. And when the pale face, the Europeans looked at the Native American, there was a stark difference in the complexion. They call them the red man.
Right.
You don't get to be red without mixing with brown and dark brown. That's a science.
Yeah.
So it's right in front of us. So when I hear a lot of African folk talk about the Africans who did not come via the enslavement process, that is a correct statement.
Right.
Brother Chase, you could have, the folk that are listening to this interview could have the blood of the original Africans that were here 100,000 years ago.